All right. Gotta take away the glare a little bit here. So on our first two videos for integers, we added integers with the same sign. We added integers with different signs. And we're going to still use that information for subtracting integers. Subtracting integers, if you look at the steps, it's much shorter, but we have to use the information that we learned with adding integers. So to subtract integers, we are going to add the opposite. Then we use our knowledge from adding integers to complete them. So subtracting is really addition, but we have to change the problem by adding its opposite. If you want to know what opposites are the same distance a number is from 0 on the number line in the opposite direction. So the opposite of 8 is -8. The opposite of -12 is +12. So we're going to change these problems, okay? And whenever you see subtraction, if you're struggling, you need to do this, okay? You will hit a point where you don't need to show the work of adding the opposite, but for those that are struggling, you really need to. It really helps you understand what's happening. So for number one, we have 3 minus 12. And when we were in elementary school, we knew we couldn't subtract these, right? They told us, no, you can't subtract that. You can't subtract a larger number from a smaller number. And at that point in your life, it's true, we couldn't do that. But now we do have negative values, so we know that this is going to be a negative value. So what we do is we change this. We change this subtraction problem to addition. So our first integer stays the same. We change the subtraction to the addition, and we change 12 to its opposite, which is -12. So now the problem 3 minus 12 becomes 3 plus -12. Then we go back to our addition steps, right? They have different signs. So we're going to subtract the one with the smaller or the lesser absolute value from the larger absolute value. -12 has a larger absolute value. So 12 minus 3 is 9, and we keep the sign of the larger absolute value. So my answer for problem 1 is -9. Number 2, a lot of negatives going on here. And I do want you guys to notice that when we subtract a negative, I do have parentheses around that. We never want to have two operations next to each other because then it's hard for us to decipher, is that a minus sign or is that a negative sign? So the way this is read is -8 minus -13. We're going to follow our steps. To subtract, we add the opposite. So our first integer stays the same, -8. We change the subtraction to addition. And this is really where staying and working down, right, and staying neat is super important. I'm not a neat person, as you can tell by the wall. But it's important for you to stay neat. So first number stays the same. Second number, subtraction becomes addition. And the opposite of -13 is now +13. So it went from -8 minus -13 to -8 plus 13. And we use our steps that have different signs. So we're going to subtract their absolute values. 13 minus 8 is 5, and it would stay positive because 13 has a larger absolute value. Last one here, we have 5 minus -4. First number stays the same. When we subtract, we add the opposite, so the subtraction becomes addition. The opposite of -4 is +4. So this becomes 5 plus 4, which is a really easy problem for us, and we get 9. So again, when you subtract integers, we are going to add the opposite, rewrite the problem as an addition problem by adding the opposite, and then use those addition steps we have for integers for adding two numbers with the same sign or numbers with different signs. Have a good day.